Hello and welcome to DataROC, the City of Rochester, New York's open data portal. This video will explain how to find and use datasets in the form of tabular spreadsheets hosted on the open data portal. If you're looking for an overview of how to navigate the page, please check out our other videos in the How-To series that covers basic navigation. Let's get started. If you go to the home page of DataROC, which you can find on any device by going to data.cityofrochester.gov, you should see content types in the main header. If you click on content types, you'll be taken to a page that briefly describes the three main categories of content that you will find in the open data portal: datasets, apps and maps, and documents. This video will talk about datasets, what they are, how to find them, and how to interact with them on the portal. Datasets provide users with tables of information related to a specific program, process, or city asset. Every column in these tables represents a field of interest, and each row corresponds to a record or observation. Dataset pages may also contain a basic map if that dataset contains a geographic field. But note that for datasets, the data table itself is the featured content on these item pages. The maps may not be terribly interesting or feature-rich. There are different types of items that are grouped into the data category on the open data portal. Feature layers, which provide groups of similar geographic features such as buildings, parcels, cities, or roads. These items contain spatial data encoded as points, lines, or shapes on a geographic canvas area, and they also have a data table that corresponds with the information describing these attributes contained in the layers. Raster layers on our open data portal will provide digital aerial photography and store them as rasters, or as pixelated matrix of rows and columns of data to store the image in a simple data structure. Finally, tables are exactly what they sound like: columns and rows of text data without direct spatial elements. Let's look at two specific datasets to learn more about them. Find the city-owned real estate parcels, live, dataset, and click on this item. You will see its title at the top of the item page, along with the date the item was last updated, and the total number of records, or rows, in the dataset. This dataset relates back to parcels, which are physical assets that can be mapped. So you can see a basic map at the top of the screen. We won't get too far into mapping in this video. There are other videos that look into that in more detail, but here are some basic features of a dataset's map. You can zoom in or out using the buttons at the top right of the map. To shift the map left or right, or up or down, click on the map and pull your mouse. If you want to search for a specific location, you can do that using the map search bar. For example, we can search for 30 Church Street to see relevant data about City Hall. Or we can ask the map to search for a current location. If you click on the blue shape where City Hall is, a pop-up will open within the map, and it will show the fields and values related to that site. Below the map you will find three tabs: the Overview tab, which will display by default, the Data tab, and the API Explorer tab. In the Overview section, you will see a written description of the dataset. Usually this will have a More arrow to expand this section to read the full narrative. If there is a codebook for that dataset that provides data dictionary explaining the fields and their values, it will be linked in this section. There may also be links to related external content in the description. Below the description section is the attributes section, which lists all the fields in the dataset. Some of the fields will have bar chart symbols on them. If you click on those buttons, you will see a histogram that shows how frequently each field value appears in the dataset. Below the attributes button, there may be a section that identifies datasets and other content that relates to the item you're currently on. Note that most but not all of the items have related data linked to them in this way. Scroll back up and click on the Data tab. The Data tab will provide you with a preview of the dataset. You may need to scroll to the right within the data table to see all the values. You can sort by a specific field by clicking on that field's header. For example, I can sort this dataset by street name in alphabetical order, or I can sort by the date the city acquired the parcel. You can also filter by given field by clicking on the funnel symbol to the left of a given field header, which will add the field to a black box at the top of the table, where you can then apply a filter. Let's filter on street name. Once the black box is at the top of the table, we can type in a specific street to filter only the rows that contain parcels on that street. Let's find all the properties on Troop Street. Note, you'll need to spell the search term as it appears in the data to execute the filter successfully. Let's also show how to filter by date. If we click Acquired Date, selecting the field formatted as a date and not as text, we can then access a date range selector tool. Let's select the date range of 1/1/2000 to 1/1/2020. In both cases, the filter filters both the data table and the map. If you want to download and use the data outside of the Open Data Portal, you can download either the full dataset or the filtered dataset by clicking on Download and selecting the correct option from the drop-down menu. You will see the same three options for each the full dataset and the filtered dataset. The spreadsheet option will save the file to your Downloads folder as a CSV text file, which you can open in Excel or another program meant to deal with text data tables. The KML option, which stands for Keyhold Markup Language, will save the data in a specific XML format used for geographic data for programs such as Google Earth, which is a free program you can learn more about on Google's website. The Shapefile option saves these files in ways that you would need to work with them in GIS programs. Each data item will also have API resources, which are somewhat technical and will be covered in a different future video. Briefly, let's look at a different dataset, the City of Rochester Tax Parcel Record Snapshot for 1996. You'll notice that this data item is a simple data table without a map, and just 7 fields. When you try to download this data, you will only see one option for Spreadsheet. We've now covered all the major elements of a dataset on the Open Data Portal. In the next video, we'll cover what web maps and apps are, and how to work with them in the portal. Thanks for stopping by. We hope you enjoyed using DataROC.